Thank you, dear Dr. Donia, for introduction about me. Then I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizers of the United Research Forum for giving me this opportunity to share my views on applications of nanobiotechnology for the sustainable agriculture. Uh, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Various parts of the world, the participants are here. I'm here in Malaysia. It's almost 8 o'clock. Maybe from the London, our moderator is there. It's maybe almost 12 plus. So various parts we are here. Okay, just be patient with me for the 40 to 45 minutes of time. I would like to share on the applications of the nanotechnology for sustainable agriculture. When I go through the topics so far, just now, there is a lot of good informative talks are given by the various well-known researchers. They all talking about the physics. I'm talking about the agriculture, where your physics is implemented here, where your nanotechnology is implemented as an application part in a particular, because you all of you know, the morning I was attended there for the Prof. Nageshwar Rao, something there, one who is given a wonderful talk on it related to the various applications of the nanotechnology. Among these, one particular area, agriculture. Okay, the agriculture, everyone, because we are the human beings, we need to be eat the food, right? The apparent struggle of the mankind and animal with environmental issues like the pollution. Today we know that every country facing the issue of the air pollution and the water pollution. Then the food availability, we are getting enough food, but the problem is the food, how good, safe it is. What about the toxins are there, or the heavy metals are there, the chemicals are there. So lot of we believing that we are eating a greeny leafy vegetables, or the vegetables what we are getting from the market, but unfortunately it's full of the pesticides and the fertilizers, which is not at all a recommended dose, because I'm the fellow came from India basically, so I know the way of agriculture where I came from the family. The particular dose, the people are not aware about how much dose of the pesticide need to be applied to that particular soil or the particular plant. So automatically the overdosage of these all kind of the toxins, which maybe leads to finally to the breast milk of the mother, is highly toxic. Okay, so when we take a sample of the breast milk from the mother, so we can find there is a lot of toxins. Ultimate aim of the nanotechnology in the agriculture. Agriculture has urged scientists to ponder and rethink on the future unhealthy relationship between the agriculture ethics and upcoming human existence and the health. So mainly here we are focusing on the agriculture, how it will be provide the healthy food. Okay, thus concept of agriculture sustainability has been one of the fundamental emphasis for the scientists to better the socio-economic and environmental of this world. So when you think about the agriculture, what is actually the agriculture? Whatever you are doing, the livestock, whatever you are cultivating, it is a comes under agriculture. Agriculture is the backbone of most developing countries, which including the India, Malaysia, where we are here. These all the nations are completely dependent on the agriculture. With a more than 60% of the population is reliant on it for their livelihood, source of livelihood and contribution to the national revenue. When you look into the nation Malaysia, here the oil palm industry, which is a big revenue for the country. When you look into the India, the most of the 70 to 80% of the population depend upon the agriculture, supply of the food as well as the fodder for the animals, and the significance to the international trade marketable surplus, because here the international trade, what we are doing from the various countries to import or export, then the marketable surplus and the foreign exchange resources and the great employment opportunities, and finally the economic development of the individuals and also the nation. So here agriculture takes a great role for the individual's economic life. What is the importance of this sustainability? What is actually the meaning of the sustainability? Sustainability, a stable and a long life for our cultivation, whatever we are doing, frequently encompasses a wide range of production practices, which including conventional and organic. You might be heard about the term everywhere now. The passion is the organic. How certified organic product is it is, whether it have a certification. If it is a yes, what type of the certification is it is. Okay, so there is a lot of chemicals and the pesticides are there. A regionally integrated system of plant and animal production practices are designed to produce long-term results. So here, when we look into it, production of the sufficient human food, feed, fiber, and fuel to meet the needs of a sharply rising population. Every country, there is a none of the country population is decline. All the population throughout the globe it is increasing. So we need to provide enough food material to them. Then the protection of the environment, it is a very important thing. You all of you might be aware about this, the COVID-19. Since the last year, almost it's a 1 year, where the first case we found in the Wuhan. Now the entire world take a break. How the break it is, everyone is arrested. Earlier we make a disturbance to the environment. Now a environment take a long break. Now it is a renovating back to normal, and the expansion of the natural resources supply and the sustainment of economic viability of the agriculture system. Systems in agriculture, what way you can be work it on. Here there is a lot of areas we can be focus on it. Soil salinity management, because when you go for the agriculture, we need to know about the minerals and the soil salinity, either it may be acidic or the basic. Okay, then we need to look into it. Energy management, nutrients and the soil fertility management, and the integrated pest management, then the pasture land management, erosion management, post-harvest losses and management, which comes under here in the nanotechnology, how you can manage the post-harvest losses management, and the livestock management, water and irrigation management, fishery, aquaculture, and the wetland management. When it comes to the fishery, aquaponics, how in the aquaponics, how the nanotechnology will help us, we will be see one by one. Actually, it is a basic information what is the nanotechnology, because here I can see a lot of expertises in the nanotechnology, but it's my responsibility to deliver to the audience who are might be have an idea on the nanotech, may not be have. Nanotechnology is the art and science of the manipulating matter at the nanoscale, the design, characterization, production and application of structure, device and system by controlling shape and size at the nanoscale. When you look into a gold as a normal, what its properties, when you turn them into the nanomolecules, how it is. When the graphite outside as a macromolecule, how it responds. When you make it into a nanomolecule, how it will be respond. So always when we look into it, the nanomaterials have a rigid structure, we have a longevity, and also the toughness. Okay, these all, when you look into a pencil, the pencil have a graphite or the lead, which one is a very delicate one. But when you make it into a nanomolecule that have a very strongest, like a iron or some more bigger than that, it might be have it. In this regard, field of nanotechnology has been majorly useful and potentially associated with promise of effectively contributing to the environmental and the agriculture sustainability. This scientific technology dealing with a manipulation and usage of the various types of materials in the nanoscale, which range from the 1 to 100 nanometer range, has aided the environmental sector with the potential applications of these beneficial nanomaterials possessing unique properties. The advantages of this nanomaterial over the bulk material, as I mentioned just now, at the nanoscale, matter shows these extraordinary properties that are not shown when they are the macromolecules. The surface area, cation exchange capacity, and the ion adsorption, complexion, many more functions of the clay would multiply if they are brought into the nanoscale. One of the principal way in which a nanoparticle differs from the bulk material is that a high proportion of the atoms in a nanoparticle are present on the surface. When we look into the applications of the nanotechnology in agriculture, where just now I saw the eminent speaker just before talk about the quantum dots and quantum dots for the staining, the clay nanotubes and nanoscale carriers, then the barcode technology, photocatalyst, biosensor for the agriculture, where it might be help as a enzymatic sensors or the enos in the pest management, then the nanolignoselluloses, where it is helpful here for the waste material from the cotton industry, which might be we make it into a fuel conversion, then the fabricated xylem. Applications of the microfabricated nanoxylem vessels here. Nanotechnology in a microfabricated xylem vessels have been in a emphasis in microbiology and the biotechnological research field, owing it to this particular advancement in nanofabrication. Observational studies on the biological and physiochemical interactions of xylem inhibiting pathogens may be greatly facilitated. So when you apply it, then it will be work against or it's inhibiting the growth of the pathogen. Thus, the studies upon mechanism involved and the pathogenic growth understanding may eventually lead to improve the targeted treatment in agriculture. When you use the nanofiltration for the application of the wastewater treatment, here unfortunately where I came across the leafy vegetables, I love to eat a lot of veggies, but when I came to know that where the cultivation of the leafy vegetables are from the backyard water or the drainage water, how embarrassing the situation, because we all of us are aware that a pinch of a fecal material have a million number of the microorganism, where you are when you are looking into your handphone, you pick a sample, we can see the plenty of microorganisms. When a handphone have this many microorganisms, then what about the drainage water? How much enormous number of the microorganisms are there, which are maybe a pathogenic in nature. So here, the nanotechnology, which might be helped to treat the wastewater before we are applicating for the agriculture sector. Maybe there is a heavy metals are there may be a hospital waste is there, so there might be antibiotics are the antibiotics, maybe the antibiotic resistant microorganism are there. So we need to look into it in the nanofiltration, because I worked here on the multi-drug resistant bacteria since 5 to 6 years. We are working on it. We found a lot of multi-drug resistant bacteria from the polluted water or from the poultry industry waste materials and all. So that water is using to cultivate the leafy vegetables. Means just you imagine it, the water which is sprinkled on your leafy vegetables or the vegetables coming into the market, straight away it coming into our, after washing we are using it in our processing. Sometimes you maybe use a salads which maybe you not be cook or anything. If you eat the raw salads and all, what will be happening on it? So here, eco-friendly graphene oxides, dendrimers, then the fullerene-based nanosorbents strengthen the membrane for separation, which increases the selectivity and remediates the pollutants, like by mainly here the ultimate aim of the nanotechnology to do bioremediation, where you are taking place of the remediates the pollutants like antibiotics or the heavy metals in water. Thus we are creating a healthy space for the plantation. Then the photocatalysis and advanced oxidation process, where the titanium dioxide nanoparticles is the most widely used photocatalyst. This exists naturally in the three different forms: rutile, anatase, and brochite. Which steps involved here is external diffusion of the reactant to the photocatalyst surface, adsorption of contaminant, reaction of adsorbed organic compound with photoexcited photocatalyst, disabsorption of the reaction products, then the mass transfer of the reaction product to the bulk water, which will help it here for the photosynthesis, the photocatalyst process, where the organic pollutant, which is a harmful, will be turned it into a harmless. Later, it will be go through the process of the chlorophyll, which take the photosynthesis process by uptaking the water, then the intake of the carbon dioxide. Finally, it will be produce the organic compound. So when you are looking into here, where there is a photocatalyst we are using here, where it will have a organic pollutant in the environment, that organic pollutant, which is a harmful product, will be converted into a harmless. Then later it will be absorbed by the water which is released there, or the carbon dioxide,
which is entered into the environment, carbon dioxide intaken by the plant, then the water also intake, then finally it will be produce our product, what we are eating today. Either it may be a vegetables or the cereals or whatever it is we are eating, it is from there. Then looking into the application part, applying the nanotechnology in the genetic improvement in agriculture, areas of genetic improvement of the plants, the delivery of the genes and drug molecules to specific sites at the cellular level in the plant and animals. This is the advanced technology in the biotechnology, where we call it as a plant biotechnology or the animal biotechnology, where in the plant biotechnology, there is a possibility you can directly induce the gene of interest to the plants, so the where the plants will be express its gene. So we have a method called the gene gun method, where we are using the gold nanoparticles which are coated with the DNA molecules. The DNA will be triggered when you trigger the gun with a bullet which is already loaded with the DNA and the gold nanoparticle will hit the plant leaf, then it will be pierce inside the plant leaf. Once the plant leaf receives the gold nanoparticle, that gold nanoparticle already coated with our gene of interest, which I would like to transfer there. If it is a crystalline gene where I want to produce it, the BT cotton, which is the Bacillus thuringiensis based cotton, which is a herbicide resistant or the bollworm resistant plants, if I want to produce the gene of interest which I incorporated there, it will be produce a crystalline protein. That crystalline protein, when the bollworm eat that leaf materials, the midgut epithelial cells of the bollworm will be die. Then finally that animal will be, that's sorry, the bollworm will be die. So we can be manage it in the pest management through the genetic improvements, through the nanotechnology, which help us to transfer the genetic information. Then the nano array based technology for the gene expression in the plants to overcome the stress and development of the sensors, then protocols for its application in the precision farming, then the management of the natural resources, early sorry, early detection of the pathogens and contaminants in the food products, smart delivery system for the agrochemical like fertilizers and the pesticides. Now the granule system entered. The next is the one where we are using the nano based. I have in my further slides I might be show you guys about how the companies are making a marketing on this particular area. Then the nanoparticle controlling the plant diseases like a nanocarbon, nanosilver, nanosilicon, nano-sized silica silver, then the nano aluminum silicate. The guys who are working here on the nanos, so far you guys might be working on the production of this nanoparticle. Maybe please consider about my view here, where your nanocarbons, how it is help it in your agriculture field of application, maybe a biomedical field of application. These are the two which is really required for any nation. If you provide a good health to the people, if you provide a good food to the people, that nation will be grow like anything. So here when you look into the nanocarbons, thermal conductors, these nanotubes also host the unique electrical properties, which is surprisingly strong. Then these carbon nanotubes could not only penetrate into the hard coat of germinating seed, but it also exerted the growth enhancing effect. By using it as a vehicle in the sense it acts as a vector to deliver desired molecule into the seeds during the germination that can protect them from the diseases. So when we are starting the germination of the seed itself, the process of this nanocarbon, where you're producing this nanotechnology through, it will allow them to produce, and it will not have any toxic or inhibiting or adverse effect on the plant. Only what it carries, there is no side effect, only the what it carries only act there, but this carbon won't be do anything there. Then looking into the nanosilver, nanosilver is the most studied and utilized nanoparticle for the biosystem. It has long been known to have then a broad spectrum of antimicrobial activities and a high surface area and a high fraction of surface atom have a high antimicrobial effect. This is very important thing because where it have a high antimicrobial activity or the antimicrobial effect, there is a more adhesive on the bacterial and fungus, hence are better to act as a fungicide. It might be act as a bactericidal, so you can be protect them. There is a study proven that studied the antifungal effectiveness of colloidal nanosilver particle, which is a 1.5 nanometer average diameter, that solution against the rose powdery mildew, which is caused by Sparothec panosa varrosae, okay? And it eliminates unwanted microorganisms in the planter soils and the hydroponic system. Just now I mentioned about the aquaculture, where it is a new trend of growing the plants in a water, which is called the hydroponic system. It is being used as a foliar spray to stop the fungi, molds, and rot and several other plant diseases. Moreover, silver is an excellent plant growth stimulator. It also helps it as a plant growth promoter or a plant growth stimulator. Then looking into the silicon, silicon is known to be absorbed into plants to increase disease resistance and stress resistance. Not only the human beings, now if you ask the human beings in the globe, almost all those who are studying, maybe they also under the stress. Those who are working, 90% of people are under stress. But in the same way, plants also go under stress based on the soil. If it is a salinic soil, the plants undergo the much stress. Where there is a environmental changes, plants meet to this particular stress resistance, we need to be produce it. Then the aqueous silicate solution, it promotes the physiological activity and growth of the plants and induces disease and stress resistance in the plant. Then the PHSNS, which are the porous hollow silica nanoparticles loaded with a validomycin, which is an antibiotic here, work it. Then the effective concentration of the nano silica silver Pythium is a fungus which might be caused the rhizome rot disease in the turmeric. Most of the rhizomes, which cause rhizome plantation, this Pythium causes. So the Magnoporthin griseae, Colatotrichum, Gliosporidis, Botrytis, and Rhizoctina solani. These are the different type of the plants. Showed there is 100% of the growth inhibition at 10 ppm of this nano-sized silica silver. Then when you look into the Bacillus subtilis or the Azotobacter crococum or a Rhizobium tropi, Pseudomonas syringae or the Xanthomonas, which are have a 100% growth inhibition at the 100 ppm. But there is a little disadvantage is that they have also reported that chemical injuries caused by a higher concentration of the nano-sized silica silver on the cucumber and the panis plant when they were sprayed with a high concentration of 3200. Nano-sized silica silver, still a new composition of the nano-sized silica silver for the control of various plant diseases. It consists of the nanosilver combined with the silica molecule and water-soluble polymers. They prepared by the exposing a solution including the silver salt, silicate, and a water-soluble polymer to radioactive rays. It shows there is an antifungal activity and control the powdery mildew of pumpkin at 0.3 ppm in both field and a greenhouse effect. Then aluminum silicate nanotubes sprayed on the plant surface are easily picked up in insect hair. Then the insect actively groom and consume pesticide-filled nanotubes. Biologically more active and relatively more environmentally safe pesticides. Then they are the Mesophorus silica nanoparticle can deliver DNA and chemical into the plants, thus creating a powerful new tool for targeted delivery into the plant cell. If there is any plant with a well-known disease, we can be deliver our targeted gene, or we can be repair the gene through this system. Then the developed porous silica nanoparticles particle system, where the spherical in shape, the array of the independent porous channels, it form a honeycomb like the structure. Unique capping strategy where the plant cells have rigid cell wall, hence to penetrate it, they had to modify the surface of particle with a chemical coating. It has been successfully used to introduce the DNA and chemical into the Arabidopsis thaliana, which is a plant. Mostly do the research on it because it is a very easy to cultivate and the changes can be done easily. Then the tobacco and the corn plants. Nanotechnology for the crop biotechnology, where it is in the three-dimensional molecular structure where the DNA crystals can form. Then the crystals have a sticky ends or a small cohesive sequences where we have a DNA. When you cut the DNA, it will be produce a two type of it. One is called the cohesive end, another one called the blunt end. Blunt end is like this where the stickiness is very little. Where we have a sticky end is like this where the sticky end or cohesive end, it will be give a cohesiveness or the joint much. Then the lattice-like structure that extends in 6 different directions, which forming three-dimensional crystals. This technique could be applied in improving important crops. When you are using the nanotechnology, the nanoparticles and recycling the agriculture waste, where you have a cotton industry, in the cotton industry, mostly the main product is the fabric or the garment. But still there is a lot of the waste, which we call it as the cellulose or the other fibers that can be converted into a low valued products or maybe a cotton balls or the ants can be converted through this. The fertilizer or the pesticide absorbent, they produce 100 nanometer diameter fibers. It can be used as a fertilizer or a pesticide absorbent, where this technique is called it as a electrospinning. These high performance absorbent allow the targeted application at desired time and location, which you have a nanoparticles which is a polymerized in a formation, the metal nanoparticle in a polymer formation, where I have a nano capsule or a nano emulsion, encapsulated the drug, encapsulated the biofertilizer or a biofeticide, which is incorporated into the nanomaterials. When it reaches to there, based on the sensor, if it is a high temperature, that particular will be open. If it is a touch the water, it might be open. If the pH is changed, it will be open. If a pest is there, it will be open. So based on the desired time or the particular location, that particular pesticide absorbents can be open there. There is a lot of nanoparticles are there, which are the emulsions, maybe a capsule. Capsule itself, it will be covered inside. When your seed is germinating, that time only it will be open. Whatever the required for us, it will be helpful to them. Then you maybe do the production of ethanol from the maize feedstock has increased the global price for the maize. Maize, we use it as a, normally the corn, maybe use it as a corn flour or the feedstock for the cultivate for the cattles or maybe the livestock there. But from here, after you are taking the uh, kernels from that corn, then next we have a cellulosic feedstock are there. They are now regarded as a viable option for the biofuel production. It can be, the nanotechnology can enhance the performance of the enzymes used in the conversion of the cellulose into ethanol. Then once pest or a drought is detected, there would be the automatic adjustment of the pesticide application or irrigation levels. One is the pest, another one is a drought. Where the pest is attacked, then immediately the nanomaterials can be do the sensing. That nano sensing will help us to give the auto spraying of that particular drug. Then if it is a drought condition, the climatic conditions are changed where it is mentioned about the drought, that the irrigation where we have a water supply might be help us to deal that particular thing. Then the nanosensors dispersed in the field can also detect the presence of plant viruses and the level of soil nutrients. It's not really so far away. where the nano sensors will help us for the detect the presence of the plant virus. Actually, you no need to go to a plant doctor or a agriculture scientist to know about what type of the virus it and all. Where you have a sensors of that particular virus or a soil nutrient depletion, if there is a depletion of the nutrition or a pH changes, which can be easily sensed by these nanomaterials which are incorporated there in the soil itself. Then nano encapsulated, the encapsulation itself, where it will be give the slow release of the fertilizer, it also have become a trend to save the fertilizer. Because I'm not sure about the other country where my fellow researchers who are here in this webinar, lot of countries, the farmers are not aware about how much dose of fertilizer they are using. They are not aware how much fertilizer really that plant takes. We don't know how much really that plant is uptaking the fertilizer. So we simply use a 200 kgs or a 500 kgs of the fertilizer per 1 hectare. Unfortunately, the plants in that particular hectare required maybe a 40 kgs, where you are using a 200 kgs. Almost 80% of the over usage of the fertilizer, where you can be cost cut. At the same time, you can be minimize the environmental pollution. Nano barcodes and a nano processing could be used to monitor the quality of the agriculture produces. Maybe the technology with emerged with a information technology and a nanotechnology, they might be help us here. Then through nanotechnology, there is a possibility to study the plant's regulation of hormones, where it may be auxins or the gibberellins, where it will be help us to induce the root growth and the plant growth. Because here some plants we have maybe a root product have a highly commercial impact, means you can be give the root growth itself. If you want to know the shoot got a highly impact on the medicinal property, you can be improve the shoot growth, because we can be customize a plant to produce, where you have a callus, the callus have a capability to produce the entire plant when you provide these auxins and the gibberellins or the cytokinins. So we can be do it customized through this nanotechnology, which will be help us to do it. Has developed a nano sensor that react with the auxin. It can measure auxin concentration at a particular point using electrical signal. It helps to understand how plant roots adapt to their environment, especially to the marginal soils. Looking to the recent developments, they have a plan to develop a plastic storage bag lined with a nanoparticle, or because the garbage bag which you want to use, where you have already coated with a nanoparticles, that nanoparticles might be act as antibacterials or maybe act as a biodegradables. So it will be help us to do environmental protection. A milk container was designed with a nano pattern antimicrobial coated that help the dairy farmers, because when you look into the dairy industry, there's a problem is with the microbial contamination. When you have an antimicrobial coating, even there is a possibility you can be protect that milk from the microbes. Then the scientists have planned to develop the nano patterned paper sensor to detect the bovine pregnancy, to determine if the cows, when it comes to agriculture, cows also in the part of our agriculture, which will run the dry without milk due to the udder infections or the pregnancy. Then it have many potential applications in variety of fields. Carbon nanotubes can be used to recognize and fight viruses and other pathogens. However, the results of studies in animal have raised concern about the toxicity of the nanoparticles. So far we are talking about all the advantages. When you look into the advantages, there is almost some disadvantages also there, but we need to be balanced, which is the best. Whether the advantages are high, disadvantages are high, we need to be looking into it, because you are giving it as a nanoparticles. The nanos deposited into the soil, one fine day it will be the macro. But what about the adverse effects of a longer duration? We need to look into it. Nano engineered enzymes that will allow simple and cost effective conversion of cellulose from waste plant parts into the ethanol, which is called it as a biofuel production. Then disposal of the rice husk can be used as a source of renewable energy, where the rice husks, by using the thermal energy, or maybe produce it into a biofuel or a energy. A large amount of high quality nanosilicas are used, making other materials, maybe the glass and the concrete. Through nanotechnology can reduce the growing risk of rice husk disposable concerns. Nanosensors and nano-based smart delivery system could help in the efficient use of agriculture natural resources like water, nutrients, and chemical through precision farming. Through the use of these nanomaterials and the GPS with a satellite imaging of the field. Yes, it is also very near time we have it. The GPS-based nanomaterial incorporated. Remotely, you can be detect the crop pests or the evidence of the stress, such as the drought conditions. What is here? The precision farming has been a long desired goal to maximize the output. That is ultimately crop yields while you are minimizing the input. What is the minimizing input? Mainly where your investment for the farmers are the fertilizers, pesticides, and the herbicide. We need to be reduce it, increase the crop yield automatically. We can be achieve our precision farming through monitoring the environmental variables and applying the targeted action, which help to reduce the agriculture waste and thus keep the environmental pollution minimum, enhanced productivity in the agriculture, very less chance of the pathogen attack. Then there is a challenges. It is a very expensive and developing it can be cost a lot of money. The technology poses risk to the health as well. This can leave a negative impact on the health and industry and can happen if the coating on the products produced by this technology include some of the poisonous microparticles. The late how it is, how it works, still there is a study need to be done. The other nanoparticles, other kind of the nanoparticles like a silver nanoparticle, aluminum oxide, zinc oxide, okay, which are in the control of the rice weevil and a Grassroots disease in the silkworms caused by the Cytophilus oryzae and a baculovirus respectively. Then the copper nanoparticle in soda lime glass powder showed efficient antimicrobial activity against the gram-positive and gram-negative fungi. The electrospinning from the harvesting the cotton to finalizing the fabric, it's made into over 25% of the cotton fiber is lost to the scrap or the waste. Use this technique of this electrospinning to spin the nanofibers from cellulose, a complex carbohydrate composed of glucose units that make up to the 90% of the cotton materials. So this is the method where it is a help for the electrospinning nanofibers from the cellulose, where we will be get a fiber gel, then we can be produce the material of that cotton. Then the nanosensors for the herbicide detection by checking the oxygen level in the soil, nanoscale herbicides using a nanoparticle to attack the seed coating of the weeds, their germination could be stopped. Then sustainable watering of the crops, where in farm areas more than 50% of water loss occur, high evaporation rate decreases the soil fertility, mineral zeolites used to prevent the water loss. This is the company, everyone knows about this Syngenta company, where the agriculture chemical companies like the Monsanto, which is Monsanto and Syngenta are well known, BASF also have ventured in the developing the nanoparticle pesticide. The world's leading chemical company already sell a number of pesticide emulsions which containing the nanoparticles, nanocapsules, they are already in the market. The positive side of the nanoparticle pesticide is that far less need to be applied and reducing cost and environmental damage. Can nanoparticle be obtained from the plants? Yes, of course we can, where the alfalfa plants harvest the gold nanoparticles. The alfalfa plants were grown in an artificial gold-rich soil at the University of Texas The plants typically use their roots to extract the nutrients and even heavy metals from the soil. They can be studied through the electron microscopy, X-ray absorption spectroscopy. They may be able to extract the gold nanoparticle from the plant by centrifugation. Advantages of the green nanotechnology, just so far I mentioned, is the green nanotechnology. Controlled release of active substances and increased bioavailability of the entrapped bioactivities, better stability of unstable active ingredients, and excellent biocompatibility. Exclusive property, the occlusive property increase the hydration and hence the increased penetration of the drug. Easy large scale upgradability and applications are versatile. Today's motto, live green, go green, pray for the green. If everything green, our lives will be good. So here I was not able to present a few of the work which is done in the tea plantation by me, but the paper is already in, we sent for the publication, so the data is not yet mentioned here, where we use the soil drenching and the soil application of these nano-based microorganisms, which we used here as a antagons or a biofertilizers, which were given a real good effect in the nanotechnology, especially in the tea plantation. It is capable of being used in agriculture products that protect the plants and monitor the plant growth and detect the disease. These existing applications of nanotechnology in food and agriculture are more oriented to reduce the negative impact of agrochemical product in the environment. The main goal to achieve the nanotechnology commitment and promise in a more systematic and consistent way to establish potent remedial mechanism and enhance the preventive measure in agriculture to ultimately better the agro-food sector in this whole planet. With this,